What's up, everyone? This is your boy Julian with Clout Finder, and I'm super excited today because I have a great friend of mine, Zushan Hashmi. He is the founder, also goes by Shaz, founder of the NFT project on Cardano Danketsu, originally ADA Ninjaz. And I'm just excited to have you here today. How are you doing, bro?
Good, man. Good. It's great to, be here chatting with you, Cloud Finder, all of this happening. Because I remember us chatting about, you kind of kicking this off a while ago, and you just planning everything and sort of making it happen. So, very, very excited to be here and always a pleasure chatting to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So where are you right now? Are you in Australia right now? Like I know you kind of are flying all over the place. So where are you waking up
Nah,
to
man.
this morning?
I wish I was flying around the place. I haven't actually been anywhere since CNFT Con and
Okay.
yeah, Vegas in October last year. Because in January, I had a baby, like my first kid. He's like
Hmm.
6 months old now, so there hasn't been a lot of traveling. So yeah, I am in Australia, and it's the middle of summer for you guys, but it's pretty cold here right now. So yeah.
Wow. Well, I guess that's so crazy. Well, once you get that one-on-one mint with a baby, that changes your life. I remember Esco had a baby, and that was a big joke with us, where it's like that's a different type of NFT that you're bringing into the world. So, actually, before we kind of hop in on the project, how is it being a father?
Yeah, it's everything, man. It's incredible, it's scary, it's fun, it's tough.
Hmm.
There's no sleep, but it's worth it. All the emotions sort of brought in together. I love it.
Hmm.
I mean, it's you can't complain. Every day is a new journey. And
Hmm.
the beauty of it is that Web3's kind of taught me how to function without sleeping anyway. So,
Yeah, Web3 would definitely do that. And so, speaking of babies, originally Ada Ninjas, now Danketsu. That's kind of like launching NFT projects, like having a child all in itself. So originally, how did you get into crypto, get into NFTs originally, and what brought you to want to start your own NFT project?
yeah. Great question. So my brother-in-law has been in crypto since like 2016.
Hmm.
And he sort of introduced me to the crypto space in 2019ish, early 2019ish, and there was a lot of that shitcoin trading kind of stuff going on, and all that, right? The meme season before the meme season kind of thing. So that's where I jumped in, was kind of doing that, and then he also then sort of um, push me into NFTs. But then my co-founder Tommy and I were kind of going through crypto together. He also lives here in Australia, and he got into NFTs. And around the same time, my brother-in-law had also told me, like, he minted these things called bored apes back then. Uh,
Got a
yeah, I
OG board ape. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So, it took me a while to kind of get the hang of it, but I started off in Ethereum. I think if people remember um, the Doge Pound NFT project, it was a very popular kind of dog based
Hmm.
one, like, a few months after Bored Apes, like Yuga Labs and stuff. So, yeah, I think that was like somewhere around there, did it like minted for the first time, got rugged a whole bunch of times, all a part of the learning experience. But
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, I'd held bags of ADA prior, like I'd been DCAing into it. And, we found out, oh, well, there's a community over in ADA, like in Cardano. and we just kind of gravitated towards that because we'd been talking about how cool it would be at a very fundamental level to have a character like Goku from Dragon Ball Z or Naruto from Naruto, and the audience being able to pick the story of their journey. And, kind of going through that hero's journey with the hero. So that was the basic premise of where at that time Ada Ninja started. Um, and yeah, I think it's grown quite significantly since then, doing a whole bunch of different things. So yeah, it's interesting to kind of reflect once in a while and go, wow, that's where we kind of kick things off, and this is all the stuff that we're doing now. So yeah.
That's amazing, and it's so funny because one, we're gonna have to have a anime moment in this conversation, but I remember sticking to like NFTs when you know I was more of like a coin, C&T guy if we're taking Cardano coins, but really just, keeping it pure crypto for a very long time. And I didn't understand like what's this NFT thing. And I remember seeing, and I still have this NFT to this day, seeing like a black silver haired Ada Ninja posted on Twitter and saying to myself, I have to have it because it was the first time I really saw like any type of representation of my like seeing myself in an NFT and being like, this is like me. So it's such a shout out to you because Ada Ninjas now Danketsu is such a huge reason why I got into NFTs in the first place. And
Yeah, wow.
so I love that you make like the Goku, Naruto reference because I remember like the silver Vegeta hair on this NFT, and I'm not. It's not actually Vegeta hair because obviously IP. Is his own unique style of hair that's unique to Danketsu, of course, but man, I love it. And so for someone who doesn't know about Danketsu, doesn't know about the project, or even someone like me where I'm a member, I don't have a fourth generation because I wasn't in time to, kill some of my guys. But um I hold all three of the original seasons, and even I'm so busy, I haven't been able to catch up. So for the people who aren't aware of your project at all, or just haven't had the time to be up to date, can you explain a little bit about Denketsu, what you guys are about, what you guys are doing, and the progression and where you are today?
Yeah, for sure. And just before that, yeah, thanks, man. I mean, we always love to hear these kind of stories. It really settles us where people are like, oh yeah, I got like we get people coming in every like Ada Ninjas was the first project that I ever bought or minted. And it's often for reasons like this, right? Relating to the character. Like there's a guy in the Cardano community called D Luke, and D
Hmm.
Luke minted his first NFTs was an Ada Ninja, and he got a guy who had like a curly hair thing just going
Hmm.
down the forehead, and he's like, dude, this is me. And when I met him at CNFT Con, he had the curly thing going down, and he's like, I still hold it, from then because I was like, whoa, this is me, right? Look, I think that's a very interesting point that you actually raised, because when we came up with Ada Ninjas, one of the things for us was just be inclusive of everyone and everything, and just try to make sure that you keep it a diverse collection, because we wanted it to represent the real world. So if you go through all the collections, they're like that. In fact, with the fourth collection, it turned out amazing and hilarious because all the NFTs, all 1,600, have names
Hmm.
in the metadata, and like maybe there will be someone whose name is John Smith, but then you'll also find somebody who has a Japanese first name and a Nigerian surname, or vice versa. And when you bring them together, because we were just like, let's pick out like, 30, 40 names from
Mhm.
all these different ethnic groups and stuff like that, and make it really
That's awesome.
kind of fun. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like some people just have so much fun because you'll find, oh, I don't even know. Like if you go on JPEG or something and have a look, it's hilarious, but it's also awesome. Um, but yeah, to summarize, what we've been doing at Danketsu is we started off as very much a community driven lore. Sorry, my cat's being a little funny. One
All good.
sleeps and the other one annoys everybody. Yeah. So yeah, essentially, we started off as a lore based, a community driven multimedia business, where the community got to be a part of the creation of the IP. So music, comics, story,
Mhm.
gamification, all that stuff. Created 1,000+ pages of lore in the form of comics, screenplays,
Mhm.
um, stuff like that, and music as well, of course. And then following all that, we kind of progressed to. Uh, oh, sorry, my cat's just being really distracting.
Nah, you're all good.
Because my kid is asleep. Yeah. Um, yeah. So that's where we started. If you give me 1 second, I'm just going to grab my cat, if that's okay.
No, do your
This
thing.
is this is natural Web3 world. I'll be back in 1 second. Sorry.
No, absolutely. You're perfectly fine. And it's so crazy because even as we're waiting, I remember when, the lore started to first pick up and you could participate. And, I participated a few times where what you would do is you would go into the ADA Ninjaz back then Discord, and they had a private server where you could vote on different things that are happening within the storyline, and depending on what ADA Ninja you have, it was how, if am I remembering this correctly, um dictates like which part of the story you get to vote on, for which is bringing utilities. Some of the first utility I saw on Cardano to NFTs where you got to actively participate into something, which I thought was awesome. But you're back, got your cat. I'm not gonna steal your thunder. Take it away.
No, 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 no. You're perfectly correct there. That's kind of how we initiated things, right? You write various versions of a story with the same outcome but different means to kind of get there, and that's what we did throughout the comics that we made. And it's amazing, and you look at it now, 1,000+ pages of story, that includes screenplays, all that sort of stuff. I don't think there's any NFT project on any blockchain that has that much content in terms of lore. So that's given us a very good, solid foundation. However, with the new year coming around, with the rebrand, we kind of decided to pivot a little bit, looking at, because you have to adapt to what the market wants. And with storytelling and blockchain and multimedia and blockchain, yes, there's a space for it. I don't think we're quite um, there just yet in terms of the maturity of the wider ecosystem, right? People still, we're starting to see tools getting built. That's sort of the focus in this space, or very high quality fashion brands and stuff that tends to work a little bit. So we pivoted, and now we've built out a gamification platform, and we offer it also to projects that have their native tokens and their NFTs to provide them a utility. But staying true to our kind of ethos. It's lore based gamification. So you send your NFTs or your ninjas on missions, and um, depending on some luck and some strategy, you may succeed with the best possible outcome and progress and complete that mission, or you may fail that mission. And it gives a much more fun sort of experience to people who are kind of participating in all of this. And yeah, so that's kind of where we are at the moment with what we call the Danketsu Hustle platform.
Mhm.
And since you've been out of the loop, you can go in and do that as well with your NFTs, and I think that it's definitely worth it. Yeah,
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check out the platform this week. What's the yeah, send me the link and obviously we'll push it out to everyone. But yeah, I'm excited to, go in there and check out what we can do. And that's a huge jump.
yeah,
And so we kind of mentioned it a little bit, but we're in a very interesting spot with NFTs right now. We're in a bear market technically. A lot of the liquidity is left, but overall, I would say like there's a stickiness to NFTs where they're not really going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like there's like even though like some of the liquidity and people who are just in it to make a quick flip or just make other people exit liquidity, like they may not be the happiest right now. But the people who are really, joining communities and, being a part of something, it seems like that's still building and it's really starting to not pick up, I would say, the craziest momentum, but some of that steam where, a lot of that under the groundwork is being done and real connections are being made and NFTs are becoming like, families, um, not just communities. And so where would you say how do you feel overall about just the current overall NFT market? What are you seeing? What's standing out to you?
yeah. Look, I think it's when the second or third biggest NFT brand uh, sort of messes things up on Ethereum with Azuki, right? Releasing the elementals
Mhm.
and everything that kind of happened there. Um, that affects the whole market. However, that's very recent. If you look at it even from the long run, right? A lot of projects and businesses that didn't really have any purpose or use case have started, um, you know, falling off the wall kind of thing and disappearing into the ethers of nothingness. And that's because, there was no solid foundation, there was no plan. And like you said, there was no community because people aren't necessary. Of course, people are always gonna go around and flip what they think is the best potential way to make money. That's, I think, also the charm of it, right? Being able to trade those NFTs, but ecosystems are maturing. We're obviously we're expanding. We're going multi-chain. We're doing a release on Polygon, right, in about a month, and you can either mint those NFTs on Polygon, and there's like 25% of the collection can actually be collected by burning 3 of your Cardano NFTs. So, we're doing some fun stuff there, building interoperability on our platform. So I think a lot of the builders come out of this strong. A lot of the ones that are signing agreements behind the scenes, having conversations with, people who can take this space forward. A great example, if we're talking Cardano space, I think if we look at, projects finding their niches, you look at a project like Makosi making games,
Mhm.
playable game where you can use and earn their token. It's been very successful. You look at Ape Society and Crocs Club. They're building out all sorts of essentially, well, Ape Society is doing all sorts of gamification and
They just dropped
sort
Levy,
of.
didn't they?
Yeah. They dropped Levy, and now they
Mhm.
just announced that they're making a wallet, um, stuff like that. And then you look at Cardano Crocs Club, and they you can invest in parts of their business. So they have like a VPN service where you can pay, in their native token to actually get access to the VPN. So projects are doing that. What we've done is we've taken our Danketsu hustle platform, and uh, to date, we've announced 18 partner projects who are actually going to be using this as a white label service. So
Mhm.
our version is live, but if you hold a Disco Solaris, you can go soon. You can go and send your Disco Solaris on a Disco Solaris based mission and earn or receive their token and spend their token on items and stuff like that. You can do that with 18 other projects that we've announced. In the next few hours, we're going to announce two more. So we'll be at 20. And then tomorrow will be, well, by the time this probably drops, this is live? So people watching right now?
Yeah, we don't have anyone on right now, but it's live,
Yeah.
and then people can go back and rewatch. And then what we're also going to do is take clips and scatter this
Yeah.
across the media. So there's going to be a lot that's going to be done with this content.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, well, I'll definitely, spread it to the community and get it up on our socials and everything. But yeah, 21 projects using this platform. We're making transaction fees, a part of them come back to us.
Hmm.
All these projects have had to buy some of our NFTs, buy some of our token, and hold it, and some have also paid us in ADA or in stable coin. So this becomes a recurring revenue source for us, and we're taking the same thing to Polygon. We're doing that over there as well. So I think that projects that are building something unique, building something different, are the ones that are going to come out strong from this. We just launched one of our launchpad projects the other day, Hokusai Universe,
Hmm.
and the 500 Genesis passes on Cardano, 500 Genesis passes on Polygon, but the ones on Cardano sold within the first 3 hours of the 4 hour whitelist. And they were 80 ADA each, kind of went up to like 500 ADA, and now they've settled at like that 200 mark.
Okay.
But yeah, but this is real world stuff. The guy, and I think I mentioned this to you in DMs, the guy who is backing the project is co-producer of, One Piece, Naruto animes. He's building Naruto. He's building a Naruto theme park in Saudi Arabia right now. So that's pretty cool. Like, so this is the kind of guy who's attached with the project, right? So they're going to be bringing on some of the most high level Japanese artists, performance artists, musicians, illustrators, fashion, moguls, stuff like that out of Japan onto the blockchain. And they've started it with a super gutsy move by going half of the passes on one chain, half of the passes on the other.
Mhm.
And obviously, we know
I
the
missed it. I
Cardano.
was so sad. I'm gonna have to get it off secondary.
It's yeah, look, I think now's a good time. It's kind of settled
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
terms of the pricing as well. But you can go on Polygon and mint it right now. There's
Mm.
15% left, and you get the same utilities as you would on Cardano. So that's, and that's 20. It's like $20 in USD, so it's nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely worth picking up one on Polygon. We have, like, if you hold three, you get like the special role and special access on either chain.
Okay.
um, and that gives you three of them give you two free airdrops from the next artist, discounts forever on anything from merch to goodies to NFTs, and essentially you become part of the core, and the Genesis Pass will always be kind of up there. And one of the artists, the two artists created it. The co-artist Takashi Okazaki is actually the creator of Afro Samurai.
Mhm.
So yeah, he made half of the art. So it's pretty amazing. So these are the kind of things that I think are going to push this space forward. um, you hold that Genesis pass, you can actually go through who we were talking about prior to this conversation before we went live, Newcast. So you can go onto Newcast. It's token gated with your Genesis pass, and you're able to watch the live performance of the artist. He's like a perform like he did like a performance art show in Italy, Japanese
Mhm.
guy, and you can watch it if you have the NFT on Newcast. So stuff like that, like very very innovative, creative. That's the kind of stuff, or building very very technical stuff. That's kind of where I see this space of mass NFTs progressing. Collections and things like that.
Absolutely, and I think it's very interesting because you're one of the you may are you the first crossover project to go from, Cardano and start collaborating with Polygon, or there may be maybe Angel Baby Spot, but, yeah, um, it's very interesting now that we're starting to see, us moving to a cross-chain world rather than, just people kind of staying on their own, layer one blockchain and having that tribalism. So what kind of like sparked you to want to make that shift?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think with ABHS, they're on Ethereum, right?
Mm-hmm.
First off, with Polygon, yeah, I think there's a few projects that have done something on Cardano and now doing something on Polygon, but maybe a lot of people haven't heard of them. One of them is like Raccoon's Club, very very small project. Another one who people might know was Hell Hyena's Motorcycle Club. So they started on Cardano, now they're on Polygon, and they have some sort of multi-chain game. But we're working with Polygon Labs and really pushing to build out this interoperability. We did a Twitter space with like some well-known people on Polygon with like 8 projects from Cardano that were expanding to Polygon, and kind of led that space, that kind of thing. So for us, right, we touched on IP and lore, and one of the things that we've never done and intentionally never done at Danketsu is limit the amount of people who can experience our world. So when we released the game back in June last year, you didn't need an NFT to play it. You could play it by just connecting your wallet. You didn't need our NFT to play it. You
Which is
can
smart.
go
Yeah.
on Yeah, you can go on our website and read our manga for free. You can read, our light novel for free. Reason being, if you token gate it, you don't have a million people who want to read it and experience it and listen to your music and stuff like that. You can go on Spotify and listen to our music, right? Um, the reason for that is you want people to be able to see what you're building and what you've created. Last year we had a lot of conversations with animation studios, and they were really really interested because they were like, usually people come to us with an idea, you guys have come to us with a universe, but just with how the global economy is, a bit of hesitancy towards crypto, when you're cold calling some of these people essentially, or cold emailing them, they get spooked. So Polygon has a lot of business relationships outside of Web3. Disney, Adidas, um, Starbucks. They've got, they are the ones who launched the Reddit avatar NFTs. So like 2 million
Oh,
NFTs on
nice.
Reddit. Yeah. So they have these networks, and once we launch there, they're already setting us up to have these conversations, because they were also blown away when I showed them that this is the stuff that we have, right? They were just like, whoa, okay. Like, I've never seen this much story. I've never seen this quality of music, anything else within the space. So that's one of the big reasons as to why we went there. I think that also the community there has been very, very welcoming, a lot of fun. That's the wild thing. Like, Polygon has like 6 or 7 Twitter spaces every single day, right? And it's just like,
Oh, wow.
man,
I didn't even know
yeah,
that.
yeah, I'm never short on options. It's never like, oh, I got to wait to get on a Twitter space for another 4 hours. Nah,
Mhm.
I'll switch on, my phone, and I'll go on Twitter, and it's like, oh, there's a space. I'll jump on it. So I think that's the key reason. I think the team there have been very supportive. Their networks are very beneficial to what we want to achieve, and then the community is awesome as well. And more than anything, I think that building sort of multi-chain stuff is sort of the way forward. And I will, on that note, come back again, because my cat is once again bothering my kid, which is funny. But give me 1 second.
Yeah, do your thing. And, while Shaz is going, I think it's very interesting when you look at, you know, moving cross chain, where with layer ones in cryptocurrency, where you build like a project like an NFT project, or whether you're building on chain, what's very important to keep in mind is that where you start is like where you have your first house. And so these different layer one blockchains are very much like communities, suburbs, cities where people live. But just because now you may want to stay within your one community, and that's where you live, that's your house, this is your country, but it may be you may want to be like what Zushan's doing, and be like a realtor where he's like, I'm gonna own some property in Cardano, I'm gonna own some property in Polygon, I'm gonna own some property in Ethereum, I'm gonna own, and that can be as an NFT collector, that can be as a crypto holder, that can be as a project founder. But it's very important, in my opinion, to really look at you know, different layer ones as, real estate in a way, where this is where you're able to like the layer one is the land. And then what you build on top of it is, whether it's a house, whether it's a business, whether it's, whatever it is, but you're not necessarily limited to one. And each different layer one has its pros, it has its cons. Um, you have to be knowledgeable because we're still so new, but we're living in a completely new world with so much opportunity. And good to have you back, good to have your cat back. And so with that, and kind of diving into that, you said you had some pushback originally when people found out you were, Web3 blockchain related with your project. Obviously, once again, we're in a bear market, so a lot of retail liquidity has left crypto overall. Um, you know, what's your opinion, just basically on crypto overall? What blockchains have layer one blockchains have you been paying like the most attention to? Do you have any theories on how things are going to move when the bull market comes back, probably like after the halving in 2024? Um, how are you looking at just the overall space right now?
Yeah, yeah. Look, I think it's great question, and I think it's interesting because that's kind of with these cycles, you see things really come into fruition and things completely disappear, right? And I think that's also in a maybe perhaps a little melancholic way. It's a sad reality that the bear market comes a lot of not even the bad, a lot of just, the stuff that didn't work gets flushed out. And the things that, and this isn't just crypto, this is any economic cycle that we're talking about, right? uh,
Absolutely.
so yeah, so from that context, like I think that, yeah, we're gonna see, like you said, we're not close to a bull just yet. Still a while away. And in that time, we're going to see more and more of these things happen. Companies shut down, VC funds getting liquidated, uh, you know um, chains basically crashing, blockchains crashing, stuff like that. But at the same time, that's where, having, and strangely enough, having that community aspect of crypto is so great, because you can always go into these circles and still have these conversations and learn and understand, and kind of complement um, what you're doing in terms of learning about the space and kind of growing what you aim to achieve. So that's kind of my take on it. It's never easy, building or working or running a business or being an entrepreneur in market conditions such as these, but it is also just a
Part of the
facet of,
game.
yeah, exactly. It is, right? So you've got to kind of push on through.
Absolutely, and I mean, just to be that's what we're doing right now, having to adapt, and especially in the NFT market, it's there's so much negativity that it's so easy to be like, if you didn't mint out right away, you're gonna quit. And if you were talking to, and I'm listening personally because I'm building a project and looking to get on your level, or just talking to someone who hasn't even started a project yet but are interested into starting an NFT project or a crypto Web3 project, what advice would you give them on what to keep in mind when starting? How do you deal with the hard times? What are some challenges that you faced personally as you're building along your journey?
Yeah, look, I think running a business in this space isn't cut out for everyone. I'll be very honest. It's rough. The good times are great, but the hard times are, awful, because people are obviously on in the negative. They're not happy, and human nature being human nature, you react, or attack, just because of the difficulties that you're facing. So that may be like a lot more, in a, if so for context, right? Let me give you an NFT example, to elaborate on what I'm trying to say. You look at Zagabond, the founder of Azuki.
Hmm.
In the bull market, or start of the bear market, he information came out that he'd rugged like 3 or 4 projects prior to Azuki. That didn't kill the project. The project grew because the market was still good. People held those NFTs. Each one was worth like 6, 7, 15, 20 Ethereum, something like that.
So a bag.
Yeah. And they kept going. But now, with the release of the elementals and all the controversy around that, everything crashed. And it's looking very hard to kind of go from there. In fact, within the Azuki DAO, they're having a vote to use the Azuki DAO funds to sue Zagabond, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yo,
and I mean, that's decentralization at its finest. But that tells you what sentiment's like at the moment. If we've seen how much the board apes and their floor prices have dropped, uh, and people calling that sort of stuff out, that it's tough. And if you're not thick-skinned enough, you're it's going to be hard for you to make it. We see more and more project leads going, oh, I'm taking a break or I'm quitting due to mental health reasons, right? And yeah, because you need to, just how you look after your physical health, you need to look after your mental health. And if you're not doing either and you're running a project, get on it, right? If you need to take a break, take a break. I can very comfortably say that, I swim 3 to 4 days a week. I see a psychologist, um, you have to, if you want to, if you want to get through all of this. Like, if you're not actively looking after yourself, it's going to be hard. um, in the Cardano space, maybe there are a handful of projects who are like, oh yeah, we're on top of the world, no stress. But even then, you look at, for context sake, Cornucopias, who, as of us, having this conversation, they're minting another collection soon.
Sheesh.
When they, yeah, when they bring all the money together that they've raised from minting these collections, it's about the same as Azuki did with just those 20,000 elementals in an hour. So
Mm.
this chain is small as well, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people came in because there was an opportunity to make a lot of money, and now that's limited. And because of that, you see projects failing, you see people falling. So I think, in terms of challenges, never get comfortable. And I think that's in any business. Never think that, you're so good that you don't need to be worried about anything. We saw that with CNFTIO and JPEG Store back in the day. And we'll see it again with different marketplaces, things like that. um, Yoroi was the only wallet. Now no one uses it on Cardano. uh, so that's the kind of stuff that happens. So you've got to be, sort of on top of things. You have to be ready to deal with, the like, as well as I do, Julian, like, the internet's not a nice place, right? like, uh like, I remember when we did the RMR mint, October 2021, like, because we had minting issues, which every project on Cardano did back then, and to an extent still does. um I got death threats, right? Like, in DMs. And lots
Oh,
of founders get those. Yeah, lots of founders get those, right? It's nothing too surprising. So that's the kind of stuff you have to be ready for. But I think, after you make that bag, if you're genuinely around to build, you are open with your community, you have conversations, you ask them and you ask yourself the hard questions. And I think that's what pushes you forward and the business that you're running. Don't think of it, you know, I love the community we have, but both myself and the community understand that for everyone to benefit in some way or the other through the experience of Danketsu, the business comes first. And that entrepreneurial mindset is needed within the space. And more often than not, it's lacking. And that's why we see, projects disappearing or failing to do anything after minting. It's kind of like the saying, right? It's easy to conquer a nation, but it's hard to rule it.
oh,
So
that's a bar. That is a bar. I'm sorry. Keep going. That you just hit me with that.
yeah, yeah. I'm just saying, right? So it's easy to sell out an NFT collection. It's not easy to continue to run it, right? Uh,
Well,
so that's
is
how.
that easy to sell out? If you want to bring some of that energy over here, I'll happily take that easy to sell out energy because definitely that's, even if you don't have the momentum, it's very interesting. Like, because Cardano, at least being a project on Cardano, everyone says on Cardano, oh, we want projects that are going to build or are going to be here for the long term. But a lot of the sentiment right now is just, oh, what can I get in on that's going to pump? And so even like selling out a project, if you didn't have that momentum back at I would say the end of the bull market, beginning of the bear, that's not as easy either anymore. But I'm sorry, I cut off your train of thought. I want you to, finish what you were thinking.
No. No. I agree. I agree. I'm. I guess what I'm just saying is perhaps it's
That's the phase one. That's
yeah.
just the start. And
That's
a lot of people,
exactly yeah.
yeah, a lot of people are coming into the NFT space from my perspective, and they're thinking like, oh, we're just going to create some pictures and learn how to turn it into an NFT, and we're done. And what they don't realize is selling an NFT, especially an NFT project like a PFP, like 4,444 collection or something like that. Um, people don't realize you're making you're almost making a commitment for life. It's not like you're selling. I compare like selling an NFT to like Nike selling shoes in the sense of, it is a collectible if done right. I mean, NFTs can be a whole bunch of things, but the way we're seeing it, they're being sold as collectibles. However,
Yeah.
it's not like you sell like a soda and you're like, oh, they drink it and now it's done. It's like, no, we bought into a world and not just a picture. And I think that's a big distinction for a lot of founders to make, that there has to be a vision, an ecosystem, an economy, or something that you see to back what's going
Yeah.
on with your NFT project, or you're going to rug in the long term.
Yeah.
I think
No,
that's,
no, 100%. Yeah.
and so I guess with being able to run a NFT business so successfully as you have so far, and I'm sure you have your sights way higher. What was your previous experience that kind of prepared you for that?
Yeah. That's a good point. So I've worked in academia, I've worked in government, and I've worked in the private sector, but mostly academia and government. And while I was working in government for, the 5 years prior to launching Danketsu, I used to run a sports media business as well,
Mhm.
just like a small independent kind of thing. So I get the sort of media side of things a bit as well, which obviously you're really, really good at, and I think have amazing ideas in relation to, and I think has a lot of avenues on the blockchain side of things. But we essentially used to have a sort of blog kind of thing where we talk to athletes, and then also a podcast. And I did it on the side, and it generated some revenue, which was nice. But then as I started getting into this space, that just sort of I just started losing interest on that side of things. But I think that was really good in terms of getting used to getting on Twitter Spaces, having those conversations online, talking to people, doing podcasts like this. In the past, working in government, academia, I've done a lot of real life community related stuff. So that ties in well here. But of course, the underlying aspect of it is essentially um, creating content is something that I'm good at, but also, story, lore, but business development and marketing and that sort of stuff. And that's kind of what I've done throughout, I wouldn't say a very long career. I'm just like 31. But that's what I've been doing since like high school, university, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think that all of it kind of shapes you, right? I'm not a tech guy, but I know how to find the right tech guy and quickly pick up what needs to be done. And I think credit also goes to my co-founder, Tommy, because he doesn't like doing the front facing stuff as much as I do, but likes doing the strategic side of things. So I can do the strategic stuff as well, and I do, but I'm happy to take on this role as well because I enjoy it more. And I think having that balance with, a friend when running a business makes a big difference.
Absolutely. I'm learning that, building out a team and, it takes a while to find some of the right people and you gotta kiss a few frogs along the way. But,
Yeah.
having that infrastructure and support definitely helps. And it's so funny listening to your story. It's kind of like there was this it was a viral clip from Steve Jobs giving a commencement speech, and he said, "You gotta follow your passions, and you won't get it along the way, but as you look backwards, the dots will connect to where you're going." And it's kinda like that, where, as you're going along your adventures, you get all these different experiences, and as you say, it shapes and it molds you. However, it's really preparing if you're staying in alignment with who you are and following your gut, you're preparing yourself for what's to come, and you don't necessarily know it at the time, but then one day you'll look back and you'll have this amazing, project like Danketsu, and you'll be like, "Man, those experiences were so vital for preparing me for this."
Yeah, yeah. No, 100%. Like, it's only when you kind of self-reflect you realize that, hey, this is, yeah, this helped me with this, or this is what I was doing back then, and I see how that's allowed me to do X, Y, and Z. So I think 100% agree with you there.
Okay, so I know you're a busy man, so I'm not gonna hold you for too much longer, but I do have one more question. It's more on the
Yeah,
fun side. So you have, your lore. I'm an anime manga guy. You launched originally as a lore manga anime project. What were some of your favorite animes and mangas that you were and we may have to have another conversation just about anime and manga in the future. But what
yeah.
were some of your favorite animes and mangas growing up and that most inspired you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's great. Obviously, great question. So many, uh, yeah, so many different anime around. But I think that obviously, growing up as a kid, Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z were like two that I enjoyed a lot. That was kind of the era where I
Yes.
was, a kid. So that kind of started it off. Naruto, obviously, Bleach, Death Note, one of the favorites. Some of that more niche stuff, Full Metal Alchemist. I mean, it's not niche; it's super popular. Cowboy, Bebop, pretty good as well. So definitely some of those. I like the standard hero's journey thing, but lately, I've been watching Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, but I think that at the moment, my favorite anime is without a doubt Attack on Titan, and
Wow. Okay.
yeah, multiple reasons for that. One, because it's not the traditional hero's journey; like it flips that idea on its head. For anyone who watches it, they'd know. And it's also like the first full anime that I've watched with my wife, who doesn't really watch anime. So I think that's been awesome as well to go through it, and we're actually like, oh yeah, can't wait for what's going to come as we've been watching it over the years. So yeah, I love Attack on Titan at the moment. I think that so I have a background in politics, like that's what I studied, political science, all that kind of stuff. So when I look at Attack on Titan, I'm like, just the sort of socio-political and geopolitical kind of story and lore in this is insane, right? And there's so many historical references and things like that, but then it's also the characters, you connect with them on a different level to a lot of other anime where you're like, oh, I can relate to the struggle succeeds narrative of a hero. um But here, I don't want to reveal anything, but if you've seen Death Note, obviously you probably have, Julian, but for anyone watching, um you have to decide between L and um light Lighto, right? And neither of them is pure good or pure evil, because yeah, sure, L is trying to hunt down the bad guy, but for him it's about, interestingly enough, like, it has to do with clout, and it has to do with um him wanting to be the one to catch this guy, right? Like his personal satisfaction thing. It's not just that he's evil. For Kira, it's not just about him wanting to kill everybody. Yeah, to an extent, it is like you can see that what power does to him and corrupts him. But he also thinks that he's doing the right thing. And I think that that makes a great um, villain, right? And a villain archetype. Like, you look at, why was the first phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe so popular, especially with like Thanos coming closer and closer to the whole Thanos thing? It's because Thanos really believed that he was doing the right thing. Um, you look at some characters in Naruto, the good ones, the ones where the arcs worked really well. Those villains thought they were doing the right thing. And I think that conviction, when you see it in characters, when you see it in story, are the ones that I really, really appreciate and really, really enjoy. Like, if you ask me now, would I watch the Pokemon anime again? No way. Like, it's terrible, right? Yeah, I was a kid and it was amazing to see Ash, catch I don't know, Bulbasaur, but then
Catch
to
them all.
leave. Yeah, yeah, but then to leave Bulbasaur because he felt sad about him, like not being free with his friends, like, just like it was an anime made off of a game. So that's always a challenge. But yeah, so Afro Samurai is another one that I obviously liked a lot. I think it's awesome. And then for a non sort of Japanese anime, I think Boondocks is right up there. Love Boondocks. I think it's an awesome anime. Probably like the best one that's come out of the West. Yeah, so that's kind of, and then yeah, you've got the shorter stuff like the Studio Ghibli side of things, that is also like visually and all of that breathtaking and quite the experience. But yeah, that's kind of what I'll say are some of my favorites and ones that I've enjoyed. How about you though?
Man, I would say, very much like you, I started on, Pokemon was, 7 years old. Pokemon, Red and Blue came out for the Game Boy, and then you were just like hooked, and you get the cards and you watch the show and all of that. Dragon Ball
Yeah.
Z. I would say Naruto was the one that really originally got me, because like going back to even like the Ada, like me buying the Ada Ninja, like I saw like myself in Naruto, as a kid.
Yeah.
Like we were like the same age, maybe he was a little younger. I was like 13 to 12.
Yeah.
um and the isolation that he went through, and how he like dealt with it, where like he just felt completely rejected, and he was like, I'm gonna create this own fantasy world that I'm gonna be like Hokage, or I'm gonna be somebody in my head, and then like believe it to such an extent that like the rest of the world had to almost shape around his own belief. Like I really kind of built a lot of my, I won't say my personality, but it was something that like really stuck true. And then watching that journey was like, man, if Naruto could actually go out and become Okage, then maybe I can go out and do something. So that was something that really connected with me deeply. Obviously the greatest story ever told is One Piece.
I
So
forgot One Piece, of course. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, oh my god, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
And
like Naruto is what you watch as like a young kid or like a young teenager. Then when you become an adult, you're like, okay, One Piece. um, there's so many great ones though. Like I said, I really think we need to have um, a conversation just on manga anime because I feel
yeah,
like you can learn almost anything you need to learn in life by watching anime or reading manga. I would
for sure.
say
Yeah,
some that you didn't mention, um, you know, Gash Bell. There was this manga called not Beelzebub. Beelzebub was cool too, but The Breaker, which was I think it was Korean. I don't know if it ever got an anime. It was a manga. That's one of my favorite, heroes' journeys as well. I
yeah.
was really into, sports mangas. So,
Ah, yeah,
the Kurosaki no Baskets. My two favorite are like Diamond no Ace and
yeah.
Baby Steps. So, and Hajime no Ippo is another good one too for the sports
Oh,
side.
yeah, yeah. Well,
But
I mean, my favorite is very OG, like super old, but Captain Tsubasa.
oh my
It's
God, classic. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That, like, when it comes to sport, like, that's something that I think watched for the first time when I was like 2 years old or something.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah. But yeah, man, I think we can have a whole conversation about this. I did want to add one thing though, just because I do have to run. But earlier you were like, "Man, that's a bar." And speaking of bars, I don't know if people know this, but there's a small collaborative music NFT release on the 18th. It's just like 333 NFTs, 25 ADA each, collaboration between Project Newem, Endmaker, Six City, Danketsu, Mirai Music, and Crime Fighter, the Cardano hip hop group. And all
That's a
of
powerful collab right there.
Yeah. And it's actually Six City has built an NFT with a comic reader within it. So you can flip through the pages of the comic book, the Atsuko
Mm.
comic book of Danketsu, and there are four Atsuko songs within the NFT. One is, the Danketsu Atsuko song made by Mirai Music, which is on Spotify.
Mhm.
One is the Crime Fighter version. One is actually a community made version by a community member who made his own song about Atsuko, also produced by Mirai Music. And then the fourth one is Atsuko, the Founders Edition, and yours truly spits a whole verse in that
Oh, that's
song.
dope.
So definitely check it out. I just wanted to plug that in because yeah, we're not making any money out of that anyway. Like, all of it goes to all the other people involved because it's mostly got to do with us. And it's
Mhm.
25 ADA, 333 NFTs, just super cool and fun. And there's a teaser for it on our Twitter, so definitely check it out. So I did just want to add that because you mentioned bars. Otherwise, it hadn't crossed my mind.
No, absolutely. I gotta get better at plugging too. And, and even following after that, if you want to support, the Clout Finder brand, we have our Clout keys that are still minting as well. 1,111 of them, 37 ADA. You can get them at our website, cloutfinder.com. Those are like our Genesis Pass NFTs, as you know, Zushan. If you hold Clout Keys every other NFT drop you'll get from Clout Finder for free. We just did our first drop of our first Clout Coin distribution to our current holders. No promises about the future because we don't want Gary Gensler on our butts, but we definitely have a lot of plans to bring value to our holders. And overall, yeah, thank you, Zushan, for just coming out, spending time. Appreciate it, dropping so many gems, knowledge about NFTs, knowledge about anime, knowledge about different things you have going on. And we're definitely a friend of Denketsu. However, you know, I can never support you how we can never support you. Just let us know and we'll be happy to do so. So Thank you for coming out. And do you have any final words? Actually, where can people find you on socials or for your project, yourself, everything like that?
Yeah. I mean, Zushan Hashmi, that's my handle on Twitter. But if you write Shaz Danketsu, I'll also pop up.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, or you just go to the Discord, discord.gg/Danketsu, or you go to the Twitter, which is Danketsu NFT. So you can essentially find us anywhere like that. But I did want to say, especially to the Dank fam that might be tuning in, Clout Keys minting right now. Get on it, guys. 37 ADA. If you buy 10 of these, it's still cheaper than like a COTAS passport. So it's nothing. It costs nothing, right? And yeah, Julian pushes hard. So gotta support the builders, like I was saying earlier. And I think that obviously what you're working towards is going to be awesome. And I have a clout key, and I think there are some that we have to give out. How many platinums have minted, if any, yet?
I think we've only had one platinum mint so far. So we have
Yeah,
10
okay.
left available to be minted.
10 left. Okay, yeah. So there you go, Like I think yeah, it's going to be super interesting in terms of what happens. And I know, I mean, the market's not great, but to the Dank fam, like get on it, go mint some Clout keys, check out what's happening at Clout Finder. And as if you guys need us to do something, yeah. But I do have to run, mate. Uh, Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate being here. My kids just woken up, so I got to get going. But
Yeah,
you and I should
absolutely.
probably have a conversation outside of this live one very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll hit you
Yeah.
in Discord.
All right, man. Thank you so much. You have a good rest of your day. Take care.
All right, you do the same. Have a great
Bye.
day, bro.